The Yakuza franchise has been going around since 2005, and whilst there's been plenty of different games in the series, the franchise has never really been a big success over here. While that's until last year with the release of the brilliant 80s set prequel, Yakuza 0, and the also brilliant remake of the first game in the franchise, Yakuza Kiwami. These games are a perfect introduction to the world of Yakuza and the wonderful and charismatic characters this series have. Both games gave the series a new footing in the West, with both games selling very well. But no sooner as the series finally cracked the West after so many tries, the final game in the Kazuma Kiryu storyline is getting released. Yakuza 6: A Song of Life is Kazuma Kiryu's final game, and while he probably won't be in any more games, the Yakuza franchise will still continue, but with a new protagonist called Kazuka Ichiban. What the new game will be is still unknown, but Kazuka is a star of a new mobile game called Yakuza Online. Whatever happens to the series is still a few years off yet, so back to Yakuza 6. Whichever game you played in the series, you've always been guaranteed a great and thoughtful story, and Yakuza 6 is no different. This one sees Kiryu willing to spend 3 years in prison to try and leave his Yakuza days behind him to try for yet another fresh start. But no sooner is he released back into society, Kiryu soon finds himself back in Kamurocho again in search of his adopted daughter Haruka, who's been missing. But no sooner as he arrived back in Kamurocho, Haruka is a victim of a hit and run and is left comatose. So little does Kiryu know when he arrives to see her, Haruka has a 1-year-old son. So Kiryu sets out to discover why Haruka was attacked and who's her son's father. The story itself does take a little while to get going, but once it does, it goes at a steady rate, and like a good book, it's really hard to put down. The tale features plenty of shock and plot twist, and does contain a load of rival gangs getting involved with the story. But at its heart, this is Kiryu's most personal journey yet, to try and rid his life of his criminal past and try to get his family back. Along the way, you'll bump into plenty of characters, a lot of them new, and a few familiar faces from previous games. All of them, however, are incredibly well written, and you'll end up liking them all. On to the gameplay now, and if you played any of the previous games in the series, then you have a good idea on how the game plays out. You get to explore the familiar streets of Kamurocho whilst beating up street thugs, partaking in fun minigames whilst also moving the story along. Main story missions involve you talking to characters, doing the odd fetch quest, as well as the fun part of beating loads of goons senseless, as well as watching plenty of cutscenes, and trust me, there's plenty. It's the same great Yakuza experience, but with a lovely new coat of paint and polish. For example, the combat has changed quite a fair bit. Gone are the many different fighting styles that was in Yakuza 0 and Kiwami, and in here we only have one fighting style. And whilst it is disappointing to see that we only have one style here, it does feel like Kiryu's most refined fighting style yet, featuring many different attacks, like finally a way to sort out crowds of enemies, to the incredibly fun and brutal heat takedowns. So there's plenty of moves here, even if the strategic element of switching styles is no longer here. The game has seen many great changes and quality of life improvements thanks to the new engine. For example, if you went into a shop or restaurant in 0 or Kiwami, you'd have a loading screen, but now you just walk straight into the shop, restaurant or building with no loading whatsoever. It's quite strange the first time it happens, but it's a brilliant change and I really couldn't go back. Fights now happen in real time, there's no opening cutscenes, you just go straight into a fight, and it's great. You can even bring the fight into shops and see terrified staff members watching horror as you destroy their shop. The boss battles have also changed. In previous games, particularly Kiwami, the bosses felt cheap as they used to heal themselves up mid-battle and make the battle much longer than they needed to be. But now the bosses only have one life bar and it doesn't refill, and it makes the boss battles feel much fairer now. To play through the story all the way through to the credits, it will take you around the 15 to 25 hour mark if you just focus on the story. But if you go after the side content, you could easily double that length and then some. Because the Yakuza games are well known for their generous help in the side missions and activities, and Yakuza 6 is no different. The game features 50 plus side stories, and it sees Kiryu helping out the citizens of Kamurocho and the new town of Onomichi, who are often in strange and often hilarious situations. Some of the highlight side stories are the ones where a love-struck couple pretend to switch bodies so they can stay together, to hunting down a drone roaming around Kamurocho, to a young guy who's obsessed with taking selfies of the Yakuza. These side stories are a brilliant highlight of the game and a perfect distraction for when the game gets too serious. Talking about distractions, Yakuza 6, like previous entries in the franchise, has loads of fun minigames to play to keep you occupied. These minigames range from series mainstays like darts, karaoke, hostess clubs and batting cages, but the game also features a load of new minigames such as a fun spearfishing minigame which plays out like an on-rails arcade shooter, feeding stray cats for a local cat cafe, gym activities and a bizarre and rather hilarious chat room minigame. The game also features some classic Sega games in the arcade, and these feature Super Hangout, Outrun, Space Harrier, Fantasy Zone, to even full versions of Puyo Puyo and Virtual Fighter 5 Final Showdown. It's really generous of Sega to include so many games, and trust me, you'll be going back to many of these games time after time. Yakuza 0 featured the fun and enjoyable side stories / businesses of the Cabaret Club and the Real Estate, and whilst Yakuza 6 doesn't feature these, it does feature your own playable baseball club which you can recruit team members and level up, as well as Kiryu's own fighting clan, which is a fun little strategy game with its own storyline, and again, these are both fun distractions that will add a few hours to your runtime. Anyway, presentation-wise now, in Yakuza 6 A Song of Life may not be the first Yakuza game for the PS4, but it is the first Yakuza game built from the ground up for the PS4, and the new engine it's been built with is absolutely amazing. The Dragon engine allows for even more detailed character models, especially during cutscenes, and Kamurocho looks absolutely beautiful with plenty of stunning neon lights and detailed textures. The game even has an option to walk around in first person, and this really does show how wonderful this game looks. One thing you should know if you've been playing Kiwami and Zero, the shift to 6 may seem a bit strange as it actually only runs at 30 FPS, compared to the silky smooth 60 FPS at Zero and Kiwami. To the game's credit, it runs really well on PS4 Pro, keeping at a rock solid 30 FPS, and to be honest, playing at 30 FPS doesn't really bother me at all. Conclusion time now, and Yakuza 6 The Song of Life is a wonderful send-off for one of gaming's best and most underappreciated characters. The Song of Life story is personal and a strong one with plenty of memorable and likeable characters. The game is jam-packed full of fun minigames and funny side quests to keep you coming back long after the credits roll. Its new engine breathes new life into Kamurocho and includes some much needed quality of life improvements, and whilst the combat may not be as strong as previous entries, it's still plenty of fun. And with that, I'm giving Yakuza 6 The Song of Life a 9.5 out of 10 with the title of amazing. Thank you for watching my review, like, rate and subscribe, and until next time, happy gaming. Bye!